Just why are you awake? Brain being loud? Of course it is. Does that brain of yours ever quieten down? No, it doesn't. Silly loud brain. Isn't it wild that brains just think about themselves? And your brain does a heck of a lot of thinking. Which is great when it's normal human times, and not so great when it's the middle of the night and you're trying to sleep. You poor little petal. Can I help you, lovely? Just talk at you. Distract that busy brain. I can do that. I'm never going to run out of nice things to say to you. Come on. In you come. Into my arms. Phone down. Eyes closed. And you keep those eyes closed. No peeking. You try to fall asleep, and I'll try to quieten that brain of yours. But do you ever think about the brain? Like, we're the only creature on this planet that has sapience. And that's all down to how our brains evolved. Really, it's our brains that separate us from the monkeys. That and a distinct lack of tails. Do you know what solipsism is? Well, basically, the Greeks said, only my mind exists. And then we see it later on with Descartes, but don't let me get ahead of myself. That would be putting Descartes before the horse. What? I'm funny. But basically, some people take solipsism to mean that they are the only thing that exists, and anything that exists outside of them essentially stops existing as soon as they stop perceiving it. So, if you were solipsistic, that would mean that you made me up, and I didn't exist outside of your perception of me. But if I think, therefore I am, and you are what brought me into existence, is it you think, therefore I am? Well, if you did make me up, you did a damn good job. What a fine figment of your imagination I am. And did you ever think about the concept of the multiverse? Like how every choice we ever make leads our life down its path. But what if we made a different choice? Imagine if I'd never made the string of choices that led to meeting you. That's not a universe I want to live in. But it's every choice. There's a universe out there that's the exact same as this one, except our blanket is a different color. Or you only have one pillow instead of the ridiculous amount of pillows you have. I'm sure there's tons of universes where you're already asleep. Or there's universes where the Industrial Revolution just didn't happen. Can you imagine? Steampunk universes, or retro-futuristic universes, or universes where everything is powered by wind or water. Just wind and water mills as far as the eye can see. Or a universe where Russia won the Cold War, or where Columbus sailed straight past America and left those people alone. It's fun to think about. Alternate history, I mean. If a butterfly flaps its wings when it's not supposed to, suddenly you have a world where the British never colonized. Well, everywhere. If you could time travel, when would you go? I think I'd go sometime happy. As an observer, I mean. You can't change anything. Make one wrong move and all of a sudden I'm my own grandfather. I think I'd go see the Hanging Gardens in Babylon, or maybe see the Sphinx when it had a nose, or celebrate the moon landing in New York City, or see if Helen of Troy really did have a face that launched 1,000 ships. There are so many things I'd love to see. Hundreds of millions of choices that shaped the world into what it was. But no matter where I went, or what multiverse I ended up in, I'd want it to end up like this. With us, in bed, and me talking nonsense to try to quiet your busy, busy brain. I know it's hard, lovely. I know exactly how heavy those thoughts get. It's why I'm happy, always happy, to be on hand to lighten them. Anything I can do to help, I'm glad to do it. And hey, did you ever think about the way nature just keeps evolving crabs? There has to be some kind of evolutionary advantage. But what could it be? I mean, crabs are one of the main decomposers in the marine ecosystem. They keep the ocean nice and clean. But I guess it's just evolutionary favorable to be a crab. Maybe in a couple thousand generations, we'll be crabs. You never know. Maybe we'll all be crab people, side-shuffling our way around. Environment shapes evolution, and who knows what the environment will look like in the future. Or maybe technology will advance so much that we'll all be robot people. Can you imagine? As soon as you're born, boom, barcoded and given cybernetic implants. It's cool to think about, if a bit Black Mirror. But technology and the power of technology, it's always increasing exponentially. 100 years ago, we'd never imagined televisions, or the internet, or Spotify, or Google Maps, or YouTube, or self-driving cars, or any of the things we think we can't live without. Or phones. Isn't it insane to think about? The entirety of history accessible with a swipe of our fingers. The ancient scholars would turn in their graves if they knew just how much information we'd have access to. And hey, who knows what the next 100 years looks like? Will they look back at us and think we were idiots? I, for one, welcome our cyborg overlords. Are you still awake? All right. It's time to bring out the big guns. Snuggle up, lovely. Get cozy. If it's possible for you to get even cozier than you are. Cute, cozy little lump. Sometimes I think about what life might be like if we'd never discovered the written word. How would we share our stories? People have always told stories. Really, it's that differentiates us from the animals. The irrepressible need to share stories. We've always wanted to share stories. We've always wanted to make our mark, to let the world know that we were here, that we lived and loved, that we mattered. Look at the cave paintings. Look at multiverse. 64,000 years. 64,000 years ago, someone said, I want people to know I was here, and left us evidence to find them, to find their story. There are so many stories out there. Everyone you meet has a story. Isn't that wild? Every person that you pass in the street, the girl who sold you coffee, the man who drove your taxi, the person who designed the pajamas you're wearing, they all have beautiful, complicated, difficult, and complex lives of their own. And we're all just trying to tell our own stories, aren't we? I like our story. I like the story that has endless chapters of me helping you sleep. And I'll always be here, okay? Always be here to tell you stories. Always be here to help you when you need me. I wouldn't rewrite it if I could. So come on, lovely. Snuggle up. It's time to rest. Just relax and let yourself breathe. Let your brain drift off into sleep.